Hello, YouTube. It's your boy, King of Scrubs here. Uh, this past weekend, went to a few more tournaments. I got one of my rounds here. This one was actually pretty interesting. It was against Goaty. It took a minute for the round to start, but I went first, setting up a pretty average board, but I did telegraph here pretty easily on what I had. Uh, the pot resolves, drawing two, and then I proceed to just set three and summon Ruby Carbuncle, which is where the telegraph happens. It's showing, if you know anything about Crystal Beast, what I had. Uh, it doesn't seem like an exciting game from this point, but going forward, I didn't know what he was playing, and he normal summons the one that tributes to summon from hand. I don't remember what it's called. Uh, Paces or something like that. But on his draw phase, I activate Conclave, which shows even more and telegraphs more of what I'm doing. I'm in a pretty good spot from here. Um, I had the Rainbow Beast counter or Crystal Beast counter trap face down, and I forget what my other set was at this point, but he screws up a little bit, special summoning the Angler rather early, locking him out of special summoning from the hand, which comes up later on in this turn. Here he proceeds to go into the level 6 Synchro, which banishes directly from deck, which then allows him to special summon the one he banished because it's the Ruby of the Goaty that can summon whenever. It's pretty good. From here he attempts to special summon the Ruby and sink into the level 8 that banishes itself in one of mine. And he forgets to declare Chain Links. I let him go through with it, but he tries on two separate effects. This is where the biggest screw up of the game happens, but he tried on two separate chain links to use the level 8 and then also use the synchro effect, the synchro to add. So he tries for the synchro effect here. I didn't know he was doing the effect of the level 8 synchro on summon. He didn't specify that. I thought he just didn't use it. And then he tries to use it on a new chain link, so we then go back and clarify game state on what's happening. And he chooses that as Chainlink 2, which I am able to use the counter trap to stop it. Destroying the Carbuncle and then using the effect of the Conclave to special summon. I believe I special summon Pegasus. Yeah, and then Pegasus places the Rainbow Dragon, which gets me pretty well set up for the following turn. He has more extenders. Because he has the field spell, which allows him to banish from grave. He banishes the level 8 Synchro. Since the level 8 Synchro just says whenever it's banished, he's able to get it back, which is really good for him. From there, the field spell also gets him add to hand, I believe. I don't remember fully what the field spell does. It's a really interesting deck, and he had a really cool tech card, which you guys do get to see a little later on. But he adds the little guy that summons from hand to set up for next turn. He tries to summon the guy in hand but can't because of the Silent Angler, and that's where that came up. But he does get to still summon the level 8 by banishing another fish, which he banishes the Ruby to set it up for the next turn. Special summoning the fish. I activate another Conclave here, which I do get to use its effect. I did that on Attack Declaration. I get to summon out the Eagle, and then I proceed to bounce his Synchro and my Pegasus, which sets me up perfectly for next turn. Using Eagle's effect to return to hand. The Carbuncle on summon, during standby, he summons out one guy, and then I activate the Rainbow Dragon effect, banishing it, special summoning the Pegasus, and adding to hand the Rainbow Dragon, which sets me up into a pretty good spot. I thought he was going to try and quick sync up here, but I was prepared for it, thanks to the second Conclave. I ended up adding to hand the Rainbow Bridge of the Heart off of this, which I then proceed to activate, using its effect to pop and bounce. I believe I bounce his level... No, I bounce his level 2, but that didn't end up mattering. It just locks him into only being able to do the level 8, I believe. Yeah, so I bounce them both to hand, adding the counter trap, and then proceeding to use my regular normal summon that I hadn't used this turn, or my additional normal summon. I just had so much follow-up on this turn. He has follow-up on the next turn, though, but I'm trying to set up to make sure I can play through it. He puts me in a pretty tight position because I didn't realize that he had the immediate Synchro Summon. I swing with the Pegasus, taking some damage, and then or on attack declaration, special summoning the Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon, swinging over the Octopus guy, the guy that's actually really good, proceeding to set the counter trap and passing turn, which I'm now set up in a pretty strong position, but from here he also has some pretty good stuff. He discards to special summon the Dustwalker guy, which this is his really cool tech. He special summons the Dustwalker, summoning the Supe, sinking into the level 6, which gets him an automatic banish to go straight into the level 8, basically. I thought this was really cool and really smart. Didn't even think of it. He still had the field spell at this point. And he also still had, I believe he had another Octopus in hand, or he had the little level 4 fish, which he can use as the extender from here. Being able to quickly sink into a level 8 from this point, although I believe I stopped the level 8, so it ended up not mattering. In the end, the counter trap was strong here. Oh no, he did have the other level 6, banishing 2 of them to special summon it out, which then allowed him to special summon immediately the Ruby of the Goatee, sinking into a level 8, which was the White Aura Whale. This was not my friend. That thing is very strong. I used the counter trap on this, stopping it from blowing up the field, I believe. Or no, I let him blow up the field, placing both of them into the spell and trap card zone, and then bouncing to hand bouncing it. No, he attacked over it, and then I bounced. And from here, he proceeds to pass, or did he still have more follow-up? This was a really good back and forth, and I really enjoyed it. I thought I had answers to all of his extensions, but he kept having more and more, and I was worried I was going to run out and he was just going to have more resources. He ends up adding to hand using the field spell, the level 6, who he then, I believe, can special summon. I forget how he special summons it, though. Or no, he hasn't even normal summoned yet. So he's able to summon the level 2 and tribute off to special summon the level 6, who will then set a trap directly from deck and set him up for level 8 synchros on the following turn. He did a pretty good job of managing his resources. I was starting to run a little low on resources, and he just seemed to have infinite extenders, but I thought I had him at this point when I chose to stop the Stingray from setting a trap directly from deck. And I think I kill him on the next turn. I think I have just enough to be able to kill him because I activate the Rainbow Bridge of the Heart. Or what I should do is activate the Rainbow Bridge of the Heart, which... Oh, I top deck the Rainbow Bridge, adding to hand the Awakening of the Crystal Ultimates. I should activate the Rainbow Bridge of the Heart, destroying the Sapphire Pegasus, and bouncing the monster, which I do here. I use effect destroying the Ruby in hand, so I did misplay here. I should have destroyed the Pegasus, putting it into the spell and trap card zone. Normal summoning another Pegasus, getting something else, and then bouncing his fish and that, so that way I had lethal already on board and had more monsters on board. But I still put out a lot of damage here. I think I was short 1 Pegasus was the biggest problem, and his monster having 0 defense allowed me to run over it with the Ruby. But yeah, that ended up being enough for game. Apparently I had attacked him earlier and I had forgotten about it. But from here we go into Game 2. Game 2, he does kind of blow me out, mainly because I ended up drawing Nibiru, Ash Blossom, and like Conclave, and it just wasn't good. Being stuck with nothing but hand traps, and he proceeds to not summon more than 3 or 4 times per turn, so the Nibirus ended up being completely dead. I did end up switching the Nibirus out, or switching into Nibiru over D-Shifter for the new format, because we were playing in new format. Tear Element being gone makes Shifter kind of useless with Kashtira being such a strong deck in the format, but he's got a pretty strong start here. Right off the rip, he summons the little goatee guy that summons from hand, special summoning the seahorse that dumps. I forget what it's called, but he ends up dumping the one that gains 500 attack, setting one, banishing it to increase by 500, and then during standby, special summoning both of them, and quickly proceeding to follow up. I set the Conclave, and I pass turn, not having much in terms of follow up, and he quickly synchro summons during my end phase into the goatee level 6, which then gets to banish, I believe, Ruby. The goatee, which he then proceeds to special summon and sync off again into a level 8, banishing his fish and my set card because it can hit anything. And from there, yeah, I had to question that too. I didn't know it could just banish anything. I set the book. That's what I do. I didn't draw the... I was going to stop him from OTKing and hopefully draw into something for the following turn. He then automatically gets to summon the fish, and then during his standby, he summons out the level 5 again because it did get banished, off of him banishing it to summon back the level 8 fish synchro. He then special summons the level 6 octopus by banishing 2, which sets him up for the following turn, sinking into another level 8, which is the Crystron dragon guy, or not Crystron, I forget the name of it. It's that rock Adamancipator. It's the Adamancipator level 8 synchro that can negate spells and traps. I top decked another dead card for turn, and we proceeded into Game 3. Game 3 was a small back and forth, but I maintained control most of the time. I think I opened up pretty well in Game 3. I know I opened up double Ash Blossom in Game 3, and it did not go well for him. He opened up a lot of combo pieces, but the double Ash just kind of shut him down. Being able to play Ash Blossom again in the format and it being effective is really nice to see. I know, at least for my locals, we have a lot of branded. We have like 3 or 4 branded players and 2 Kashtira players, and it's nice to be able to Ash their branded fusion. But from here, I opened up, I think, full combo, and then the double Ash, I Rainbow Bridge into I forget what I added with Rainbow Bridge, but it didn't really matter because I activated Crystal Bond, not Rainbow Bridge, placing the Rainbow Dragon Crystal Beast monster, banishing it, summoning, searching, and then, it was Rainbow Bridge into Crystal Bond, which then proceeded into basically full combo, ending with me setting to, I believe it was the Counter Trap and the Conclave. During his draw phase, I flipped up the Conclave, and he proceeded to attempt to use Dawnwalker. He discarded to special summon Dawnwalker. I proceeded to Ash it, which he didn't open up many extenders other than that. He summoned the Seahorse, and I proceeded to negate that, thinking he had no other follow-up past the Seahorse. So I negate the Seahorse here, and then getting a special summon, which I believe I summoned the Carbuncle, which summons both the Eagle and the Pegasus. I opt not to use Pegasus effect here, I believe. And then I'm thinking if he has any follow-up, I can always bounce it to hand with the Conclave. He proceeds to pass turn, just sitting on the Dawnwalker because that's all he had at this point, and I decide to attempt to push in for some damage after top-decking another Rainbow Bridge, which gets me into an Awakening of the Crystal Ultimates, which proceeds to get me Rainbow Bridge of the Heart, which will allow me to bounce his Dawnwalker after getting a search by popping the Ruby, and then returning the... No, I think I pop a Pegasus here and then return it to... no, I did. So this was a bad play on my part. I should have popped the Pegasus and then returned the Pegasus, normal summoning the Pegasus. But instead, I used the Eagle's effect first, bouncing the Pegasus, and then popping the Eagle, which was a misplay on my part. I should have definitely popped the Pegasus, added, then returned the Pegasus with the Eagle, and then normal summoned the Pegasus, placing another card into my spell and trap card zone, and swinging for a lot more damage. But apparently I felt confident enough with what my setup was. I believe I proceed to set 1 and activate Rainbow Bridge of the Heart and pass turn here. He attempts to use the Dustwalker one more time, which is met with another Ash Blossom. This again stops his turn. He's lost quite a few resources at this point, and it's just not working out for him. He sets one and passes. I proceed to have lethal already on the board, popping the Ruby Carbuncle, then bouncing, and then activating Awakening of the Crystal Ultimates to special summon more, and proceed to kill him from here. Which, it was a good back and forth. Game 1 was the most interesting game. The last 2 games were kind of blowouts, but Game 1, he showed me what Goaty can really do, and if you let that deck get out of hand, it'll definitely end up getting out of hand. But that's all for now. Y'all remember to like, subscribe, and comment down below on how bad I'm doing.